guess we're gonna wait a minute to have a conversation. Alright, boys and girls, in the last video, I said this. I've still got to take care of some area back here, and I got to do something about the gap up front. Then, I cut out some patterns. After that, I cut out some metal. Did some welding. Then I laid down some primer. This almost looks like a mountain, so let's put a pretty little rolling mountain right in this area. Of course, there are no mistakes, just happy little accidents. My whole life has been filled with happy little accidents. Yes, I used a brush, but keep in mind that before the next coat of primer gets sprayed on, it's gonna get sanded smooth, so no worries. Now, the only reason we went ahead and put primer on that metal is because today's product requires it. We had so many weld seams in that metal that were not painted, and this product requires paint or at least primer according to the manufacturer. I even called them to make it a point to make sure that I was clear about that. And the answer is yes, because according to the lead technician on this product, Evercoat Body Shop Seam Sealer is a single stage seam sealer, and it will adhere better to painted and primered metal rather than bare metal. Alright, we got to seam seal all of these weld joints in the modifications that were made to the floorboard. We need to seam seal all the joints there for the same reasons. And then we have a modification down here where a sheet of metal was put in from the top side and then cut out from the bottom side. There is a slight overlap between those two pieces of metal, so we want to make sure that that is sealed up so that no moisture gets between those pieces of metal, and that's probably where we're going to start. Alright, got my gloves. Got my caulk gun. Now I'm going to point out that, I don't know if you can see it for the light, but this is sealed with plastic on the end, so I don't know if there's a seal behind it that requires poking it with anything. So we're going to find that out together. Need to cut more than that off, I guess. There we go. Alright, maybe that's, it ain't visible. Anyway, yes, it does have a seal behind the end of it there, and it's separated with a triangular shape. I don't know what you want to call it. Alright, got that. Let's screw this on. The end of the tip already has a hole in it, and I see it coming through the tip. It is a very small bead, so if you need a bigger bead, I guess you need to cut the tip a little bigger. Now the reason I've got gloves is because I sort of expect this to be messy, especially when we do the section of the truck that was body dropped, and right here as well on that edge where I was just at. Alright, now let's see how bad that squirts out after I'm done with that. I got me a spreader so that we can squeeze that down into that gap. We're going to do that all the way around. Got gnats all around my face because I've got all the garage doors open because it's 95 freaking degrees in here, regardless as to whether or not it's raining. I'm thinking we need to take care of these areas before we take care of that because, or that, because that's going to get messy because I got to use my fingers. But in this area, we're going to try to fill all this in using a spreader. Alright, this is a little bitty bead. So we're going to put a lot of it on there. But there's definitely a definitive color between the primer and the seam sealer. And there's the mess I was trying not to make. Alright, one more side and we can move to the inside because we are nowhere near done with the first tube. Which means if we can get the inside and the outside done with one tube, then we probably need to take the other tube in the house to store it, provided that we don't have to open it before we get done. Yeah, I got a little bit on my fingers from the puncture holes, but I think we'll be okay. Alright, I would not be upset if it were a little prettier. See the finger marks and everything in it, but I think that's sealed up pretty well. And honestly, this is the bottom of the floorboard. That's all I care about. Just seal it up and make sure there's no water getting in between any areas of this metal, and there's no pinholes that are available to have, I don't know, create rust or whatever. Alright, so I had everything ready and I got called away to the lunchbox for an air conditioning problem, but I'm back. Meanwhile, this has been sitting uncovered for another 2 hours, so we'll see what happens. I will say that my plastic spreader is missing in action. I assume it's underneath this floorboard laying on the concrete. We'll find out whenever we pick this cab up. Between now and then, I started thinking about the fact that the tube says it's brushable. So, here's what we're gonna do. Provided it comes out, we're going to spread this with a little piece of cardboard, and then we're going to brush it and see how it turns out. Because because I don't know if that's going to work or not, but we're going to spread it with the cardboard just to basically make it cover more of the area. Oh yeah. Now the reason this says brushable, it does not have the same consistency of, say, silicone or liquid nail or something like that. It's a little thinner than that. But I noticed yesterday whenever I put it on the vertical surface, it didn't try to slide, it didn't run, nothing like that. So, oh wow. Brushing this down here is way better. Let's try this without the cardboard. I do want to fill in the area right here where the edge of the all those little lips are at. And I know that sounds stupid if you haven't seen the videos as to why that's there, but dude, that looks beautiful. Let me show you what I'm doing on this side where you can actually see it. This is a rather large weld bead due to the fact that, well, there was more than one gap here. So we're having to use quite a bit of this to cover everything and make sure that all the pinholes and all that type stuff are covered. But the difference between rubbing it in with your fingers, because let's be honest, that gets messy, and doing it with a spreader, which doesn't exactly work out beautifully, or at least not like this. This is coming out beautiful with a stiff bristle, what's that, a 1-inch paintbrush. Now this stuff says it's got a 15-minute work time. Of course, now we're almost at the end of this too, because I am using a lot more on this inside section than I used on the outside section. But that's exactly why I bought 2 tubes. Alright, let's see where we're at here. Let's start here. Work our way that way. We're going to take our excess and work it in other areas. Now I will say that I did not notice anywhere. Can you guys even see this? I don't know if you can or not. I will say that I did not notice anywhere on that tube where it said anything like maximum thickness of 1/4 inch, or which would be unrealistic, but you know what I mean. I did not see anything like that, so I don't know if there's a maximum thickness. All I know is that I am currently Loving the results. Man. Now I just need somebody to hold this while I do this. I'm going to finish this up and then come back to you. Alright, so I did have to open this second tube. I put a lot more on the inside than I did on the outside. And I still got quite a bit of this tube left. So, but I will tell you what I did. I took the spout off the new tube and put the spout from the old tube on the new tube. That way, maybe I'm going to try to take this spout off and wrap this with some electrical tape or something and put the clean spout on top of it. See if maybe we can make this last a little bit longer while it's on the shelf. Maybe we'll have a use for it sometime soon before it goes bad. I doubt very seriously that's going to work, but we'll find out. I don't even know if you can hear me because I had to turn my exhaust fan on. 108 degrees was too bad for even me. Well, it's not quite been 24 hours, but it's curing pretty well. I mean, it's got a small amount of tackiness to it. There is a spot right there that I would like more of it in, but I'm sure it'll be fine. I've used a lot more of it in the back or the inside of this cab than I ever did on the outside. Let's come around here because that's the spot that I really wanted to seal up. I'll tell you what, this product looks great. Now let's be fair. This is one of those products that we're not really going to know for several months, maybe even a couple of years, how well the product works. But as far as the application, the ease of use, all that type stuff, I'm sold. It is easy to apply, goes on with a caulking gun. Honestly, it's you get better results, or at least I did, if you use a stiff bristle brush like a nylon brush rather than a spreader or a, what do you call it, a paint scraper type thing. And on top of that, it actually has a pleasant smell to it. It doesn't smell like a bunch of harsh chemicals. It's not a horrible odor. It's actually quite nice, which is a new concept for this garage. Anyway, for the 6 of you that are still watching and might maybe be interested in this, it's been raining for the last 2 weeks, off and on constantly, and it brought to mind a song by John Cougar Mellencamp or John Mellencamp. Anyway, the song is Rain on the Scarecrow. It's got a deeper meaning to me than you guys would be interested in hearing about, but check out the song. That's your song of the day. Rain on the Scarecrow. Peace, love, and mini trucks.